What's up, world? It's your boy Jaron Ikner back again from the video for Starstruck TV. This time we're talking about the long-awaited, highly anticipated album from Joyner Lucas, Adhd. This album has been 2 years in the making, and it's finally here. People are excited about it. So let's get into this. I will say this. When it comes to this particular album and Joyner Lucas in general, even like when I went to go listen to this album, I had certain expectations and certain things that I was looking for in this album, because Joyner Lucas has definitely carved out a particular style and persona where he has these highly thematic songs where usually he takes a concept and dives deep into it and offers different perceptions and perspectives on these songs. And this album really kind of hits those marks on a lot of the different songs. But at the same time, he does offer a variety. But at the same time, there's not a lot to grab onto in terms of expanding his artistry past what we expect from him, if that makes any sense. And with that in mind, I'm not mad at this album. I think this album is a very, very strong effort. I think that he hits all the marks that need to be hit. He has the self-referential kind of meta skits where people are talking about him taking too long on the album, including skits from Kevin Hart and Chris Tucker. He has the super thematic songs where he dives into these concepts and really runs with them. He has the songs where he just raps and does his thing. The production is solid. And I'll dive a little bit more into that in a second. But like I said, there's not anything in this album that is really risk-taking. And I think that's okay. But at the same time, for the amount of effort and time that Joyner Lucas has put into this rollout, which has been 2 years in the making, I was hoping to expect to hear more surprises on the album. And there was nothing on this album that really surprised me besides the track with Timbaland, mostly because of the production. And diving into that, when it comes to the syncopated rapid-fire hi-hats and drums and kicks that dominate the modern hip-hop sound, Timbaland was the father of that. He was one of the very first on the forefront of the syncopated synthesizer hi-hat southern bounce that exists very heavily right now. And I think at a certain point in time, he realized that everybody was kind of stealing his sound. And so he switched over to a more pop sound where he dialed back on his drums, focused more on synthesizers and collabs with Katy Perry and Daughtry and stuff like that. And he never really got back to that original sound. And I think what's really cool about this particular song is that Joyner Lucas enlisted him for the sole purpose of bringing him back the original Timbaland sound that he is known for. And that, for me, that song called 10 Bands is amazing. I love that song. I think I bumped it a couple times simply because it felt good. The following track that has production from Hit Boy, I think it's called, I have to look it up because I don't have the track list in front of me, but I want to say it's called Reasons. Amazing song as well, because he really dials into something that's deeper than just me taking a theme and running with it, which is what he usually does. And I really, when I think about Joyner Lucas, I think about how I was introduced to him. And this had to do with the I'm Not a Racist song, the ever so controversial song that had the video featuring the white guy and the black dude having a conversation about racism in America. We all know the song. And I've been thinking about how Joyner Lucas presents himself, and oftentimes he's considered to be, at least the perception of a lot of people, consider him to be corny, quote unquote. A lot of corn in his raps because there's a lot of pandering and a lot of things that he does for the sake of attention. And as I thought about this more, I realized that the impact of his music usually is tied directly to his visuals, meaning that he has very strong visuals that really help accent his music. And I think about that with his newest release, the Will Smith song, where on that song, the video's incredible, amazing, fantastic. It's probably one of the best videos I've seen in a long time, and it really kind of hits my point where it's like when I listen to the song without the visuals, the corniness and the pandering and all that is very, very apparent, and I'm not distracted by the really, really cool visuals. And without the visuals, the song is pretty average. And this is kind of how I feel with most of the album. Whereas I almost feel like I would have enjoyed this album if it was like a movie, or if like all the videos that he did were all tied into this giant theme that ended up being like a short film or something like that. And maybe there will be more like that. But at this point, like, a lot is lost in translation without the visuals to support his theme. Even on the Will song, if you really listen to it, if you really, really listen to that song, most of that song, he's not talking about Will Smith. He's talking about like girls he's dated and relationships and things like that. And I get there's metaphors and parallels there, but it's easily his least cohesive thematic song in regards to what he's done before with like I'm Not a Racist or ADHD or all the other songs he puts out like that. And it's funny because there's a meme going around right now that says right now Joyner Lucas is writing a song from the perspective of a virus, of the coronavirus, talking about how to talking about the perspective of the virus. And to me that kind of nails like how he is as an artist. And this album doesn't, like I said, I'm not mad at this album because I went into this album expecting that. And to be quite fair, the album's enjoyable, but without those visuals to give me that extra boom, I kind of lose attention. And there's a few songs on here where I'm like, okay, this bangs, but even the title track, ADHD, the video for that song is absolutely incredible. It's one of the best videos I've seen recently with him and this kind of one take-ish situation of him walking through these different areas and things of his life. Very, very powerful video, especially when coupled with the song. But when you listen to the song by itself, it sounds like your typical rap song that is out right now. It doesn't have the same impact. And this has nothing to do with the talents of Joyner Lucas because he's a pretty decent rapper and he's a better rapper than me. There's a lot of other rappers that are out there, and I feel that like that's never the issue. I think the issue, it comes down to how do you present yourself in a way that comes off as 100% authentic, which is really, really hard to do in 2020 as a rapper anyways, because everybody's trying to get on. But the thing about Joyner Lucas is that I'm not saying that the music that he's doing isn't real or authentic, but his presentation of it without this whole package of the videos and all this, the thematics and the viralness behind it, it doesn't hit as hard. And I think that he kind of knows that. And I think that was the reason why it took him so long for the album to come out. I'm not actually 100% sure on this, but I think a lot of it has to do with understanding how to present this album in a package that really represents him as an artist without coming off as something that is him trying to sell records. And for a lot of this album, there's a lot of songs I feel like he's trying to sell records, like the song with Young Thug, which is a good song, but the song with Chris Brown definitely is going to probably be another single. The last song is interesting because he's rapping over some traditional boom bap for a second, and then the song kind of kicks into something a little bit more modern. But I want to see where Joyner Lucas goes at this point. I really hope it doesn't take him another 2 or 3 years to release another album. In fact, I hope he goes right back in with another project and something that is a little bit more progressive and evolutionary, because I think the problem is that a lot of these songs, even when I was listening to the album, a lot of these songs were already out. Like 6 or 7 of these songs have already been released in some way, shape, or form. And for an album that's been out for 2 years, or that's 2 years in the making, it feels as if though most of these songs are literally just like throwaways and don't necessarily represent exactly where Joyner Lucas is at. right now in his life. And it's almost the same issue that I have with Lil Uzi Vert's album, where it's like that album took 2 or 3 years to come out as well. And over time, you have all these songs that you create and that you craft that you want the world to hear, but they don't necessarily represent where you're at mentally by the time the songs come out. I've been through this with my album Breaking Infinity. It took me 5 years to get that album out. And a lot of the songs that were on there by the time the album came out had to be reworked because I knew that they just didn't feel, they didn't represent where I'm at. And this is almost kind of where I feel like with Joyner Lucas. The song that he has called I Lied, I think is actually probably the most interesting in terms of what I'm trying to say here, because of the fact that it's a song about him getting rich and basically kind of turning his back on the people that he said that he was going to put on. And I think that's probably the most interesting thing that I've gotten from this album, because it gives me more of a glimpse of where he's at right now, as opposed to all the struggle-ish type of music that he's been making to get to this point. And that's because we've been on this journey with him and we've seen the growth. I mean, he has songs with Eminem now. So it's pretty safe to say that Joyner Lucas is in a category that's a lot different than a lot of the music that he's presenting on this album. But that's just my opinion. Tell me what you all think. Let me know in the comments if I'm right or wrong, or if you have any questions or concerns. And let me know what album I should review next. I'll check it out in the comments. But thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all the stuff that we do on this page. We'll be back again with more videos on Star Trek TV. And make sure you check out our new blog, thecreator.com, where we have news, reviews, all kinds of cool stuff. See you soon. And that's because we've been on this journey with him and we've seen the growth. I mean, he has songs with Eminem now. So it's pretty safe to say that Joyner Lucas is in a category that's a lot different than a lot of the music that he's presenting on this album. But that's just my opinion. Tell me what you all think. Let me know in the comments if I'm right or wrong, or if you have any questions or concerns. And let me know what album I should review next. I'll check it out in the comments. But thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all the stuff that we do on this page. We'll be back again with more videos on Star Trek TV. And make sure you check out our new blog, thecreator.com, where we have news, reviews, all kinds of cool stuff. See you soon.